Yeah, at this point, I think they should just call it James Gunn kills the DCEU because that's what he's doing. So the spoiler, remember a couple of weeks ago we covered it. It was so weird that James Gunn people were apparently targeting Cosmic Book News because they had a scoop that Hal Jordan was going to die in the first episode of Lanterns, and it was all going to be about Jon Stewart. Well, apparently that happened. I haven't watched it. I don't really give a shit, but it is very much like Masters of the Universe Revelation in the fact, well, in a couple ways. One, all the teasers showed Hal Jordan, so they make it out like it's going to be a Hal Jordan buddy cop type thing, and it was actually a bait and switch. And also that the studios are sending their foot soldiers to do damage control because they know it's not going to be popular. I don't think James Gunn is in a very good position right now at Warner Brothers because everything is up in the air until they decide what they're going to do with the Paramount thing. If the Paramount thing goes through, then some people are obviously going to get fired, get gone. And my gut is telling me James Gunn is definitely on the chopping block because Supergirl underperformed. I think they're going to look at Spider-Man and be like, Superman and Batman movies should make this kind of money, and they're not making this kind of money, and that's an us problem we're going to have to address, and James Gunn is definitely not the guy for that. I don't think Man of Tomorrow is going to do great. I think it's actually going to do less than the first Superman movie because a lot of people thought it was going to be a kind of a return to Richard Donner's Superman because they had the music and they had the whole thing, and it was yet another James Gunn movie. You know, again, it looks like everything DC's up in the air. I just read the other day that the My Adventures with Superman, the cartoon series that like nobody remembers with all the race and gender swaps and stuff, the very Tumblrific Superman, that is apparently in limbo right now. I think they're waiting for this deal to go through before they commit to it. So yeah, I think they're holding off on these decisions. I think they're going to look and see how Lanterns does too. And he's already had some other shows canceled. But Lanterns is not landing well with a lot of fans. I don't know what the viewership is like. They even had it in our local paper. They put a stuffer. It's like a TV guide type thing they put in, and it had Lanterns on the cover of it. So they're really pushing it pretty hard. But, you know, killing off Hal Jordan is not going to go well. It's funny because we knew this is the direction they were going in. Cosmic Book News has actually been right before. I'm not saying they're right 100% of the time, but you know, it's so weird. I hear these critics of, you know, the chud media outlets saying that there are no insiders, and Cosmic Book News has a really good track record. I mean, he really does. I mean, to his credit, like, and the fact that they were going after him so hard, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. And we've been there. We've been there. We still deal with the fallout from the whole He-Man thing 5 years later. Like, people still think we're lying about it. And I'm like, bitch, it was true. It was like we might have got a couple of the details wrong because we were playing telephone, but it was true. They sidelined He-Man. It was all about Teela. And I don't care who you are. If you watch those early episodes of Revelation, it's very obvious that Teela was making goo-goo eyes toward Andra, whatever her name was, the new girl. Yeah. It was very obvious they were going there, and then they backpedaled. But let's talk about this, and we're going to talk about how apparently Snyder is waiting in the wings. He wants to do a Dark Knight Returns, and he wants to bring Henry Cavill back and Ben Affleck back. I think Ben Affleck really needed more time as Batman. The more I think about it, he was always like a side character in the movies. It was like Batman versus Superman, but mostly it was a sequel to Man of Steel, right? I would have loved to have seen a trilogy of standalone Ben Affleck Batman movies, because so far, and this is coming from a guy who's not a huge Snyder fan, but so far, I think Ben Affleck as Batman has been the closest thing to comic book Batman we've ever gotten, at least modern comic book Batman. And it would have been cool to see, like, you know, 3 Jokers or something like that done with Ben Affleck. I don't know. Just me kind of wishing out loud, but we'll see. I think Snyder might get another shot at. I don't think he's going to run the entire DC universe. I don't think they're going to walk it back to the Snyderverse and just forget that the James Gunn stuff ever happened. But I think they might let him do another movie or two with his iteration of the characters, which would be really cool. Let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. If you'd like to check out Geeky's Pins, you can check Geeky's Pins out on Kickstarter. It is called Geeky Sparkles Retro Halloween Revenge Glowing Enamel Pins. There you go, guys. Look for that. Me and Geeky as Halloween characters, glow in the dark. These pins glow in the dark. She offered them last year. They turned out fantastic. We're doing another run because so many people have asked for them. So check it out on Kickstarter. Let's start here. Cosmic Book News vindicated. Okay, Hal Jordan dies, confirming our scoop. Same insiders say Snyderverse returns. Gunn is out. I 100% think Gunn is out because it all comes down to money. Remember how all these YouTubers are all like, these people are lying. They don't have any insiders. Yeah, they're not really saying much now. Now they're just like, well, they're in disarray, and that's worse than just them shutting their channels down. I'm like, yeah, cool. Same insiders tells why Paramount wants to restore the Snyderverse and make the Dark Knight Returns with Zach Snyder. We're getting there. We're getting there. Hal Jordan is dead. So I'm not even going to bother watching this now. I mean, it might be the best. I like Jon Stewart too. I'll be clear. I like Jon Stewart, but I mean, come on. We've seen this before. Got to kill the legacy character so the other younger DEI character, whatever, can take up the mantle. So it is the bait and switch. Bring him in for Hal Jordan. Kill him off. Is he coming back as Parallax? I don't know. Lanterns episode 1 ends with Jon Stewart and Sheriff Kane finding him on the Rushville High School football bleachers, frozen with a bolt in his forehead and his ring gone. Cosmic Book News readers knew that on March 27th, and that's why they tried so hard to shut them up. That week at WonderCon, we posted it flat out. Hal Jordan dies. Not a theory, not a read on the footage. It came from our insiders. 10 weeks later, Reddit leak said the same thing. Then HBO Max and Warner Brothers Discovery spent 2 days copyright striking us for reporting it. Yeah, these studios are legitimately afraid of outlets that don't toe the line. And they knew, and this is probably just James Gunn, because we saw the same thing happen to John Delarose over at Fandom Pulse when he was critical of the Supergirl trailer. You are not allowed to be critical of the Supergirl trailer, or these maggots would descend upon you on every platform, on TikTok, on X, and they were just constantly dogpiling him. And then it turned out when the movie came out, it was a huge nothing burger and nobody gave a shit. It was the worst performing DC movie ever, at least in modern DC history. And so it was all, I mean, where were these people? Were they all buying tickets? No, they're not people. They're not people, they're bots. And the same thing is happening here. They've got a PR department probably answering to James Gunn and Peter Safran, desperately trying to save their jobs. So they're going to go out and attack outlets like Cosmic Book News because they're not playing ball like a Screen Rant or something, a Valnet site, right? So last night the episode aired and it settled it. Now the part that matters going forward, the insiders who called Hal Jordan's death are the same insiders behind our reporting on the Snyderverse return and the Dark Knight Returns. So we'll talk about that because that has been strongly hinted at that Snyder, he's hanging around the Warner Brothers lot. He's posting some pictures. It makes you wonder. And the word on the street, again, is to the credit of Cosmic Book News, is Snyder's in like Flynn with the Saudis. And if the Warner Brothers sale goes through, which it looks like is going to go through, the Saudis want him back on DC. And that's, Dark Knight Returns would be awesome. I mean, everybody's older now anyway, so I think it'd be very, very cool. The bulk of the premiere lives in 2016 with Hal and John working in the Rushville shooting. Fall Man's jumped to 2026. He's dead, basically. He's on the bleachers. He's dead. I haven't watched it. Oh, co-creators Damon Lindelof and Tom King. That says, okay, there you go, guys. I didn't know. Tom King and Damon Lindelof. Damon Lindelof did and he's done some good stuff, right? I think he did Prometheus, which I like quite a bit, but I know some people didn't like it. I liked it. So we're going to agree to disagree there. But Tom King, why is Tom King so involved in the James Gunniverse? That's part of the problem, I think, right? He's not well liked by a lot of comic book readers now. Damon Lindelof did the Watchmen series that I never bothered watching because it's definitely not canon. And it just seemed like it was all about politics. So, I mean, yeah, he could come back. So he's dead. He's dead. Here we go again. Taking the victory lap. Lantern's reactions. Fans erupt after Hal Jordan is killed in episode 1. They did it. Yeah, remember how they said he was a liar? Remember how they said he was a liar? We've been there, dude. Matt, we've been there. It fucking sucks. Even years later, I hate to be that guy, but like years later, they will still call you a liar, even if your scoop is 100% correct. And then if you push back on that, they'll find another reason to hate you just because you exist outside the system. It's so stupid, right? And the reason that these people come to channels like ours and sites like Cosmic Book News is because mainstream won't go there because they want their access, right? They want to go to the premieres and they want to, suck off the producers or whatever, it's like they want the access. So they're not going to run afoul of the studio. The thing is that Warner Brothers is most likely changing hands. I would say there's a 95% chance of Warner Brothers changing hands, and it's going to the Ellisons. And that is terrifying a lot of these people. And DC especially should be afraid right now. But here we go. This is Daniel Demi Bew. Lamau, the leaks were real. They killed off Hal Jordan in the first episode. Welcome to the DCU, Hal Jordan, James Gunn. You're a pile of shit. James Gunn killed Hal Jordan in the first episode of Lanterns. So that's exactly what people thought was going to be. Fans are angry, but the missing ring has them talking. Yeah, is he going to come back as Parallax or something? Yeah, Parallax. Yep. Why is Hal Jordan frozen, old, and dead? Is he stupid? Yeah, Lindelof and King knew fans would be furious. They said it was baked into the pitch that they were going to kill Hal Jordan. So I don't know. Is this, they don't drop their shows like Disney Plus, right? It's like a weekly thing. He'll probably be back. He'll be Parallax, most likely, because we got to have the toxic male. But I don't give a shit. I think the James Gunn DCU is dead. Now let's talk about the other rumor, which is Paramount wants to do the Dark Knight Returns. They can't do another reboot. Yeah, that's so stupid. I would, at this point, I would just say the James Gunn trilogy, and it's probably going to wind up being a trilogy, 2 Supermans and a Supergirl. It's probably going to be a trilogy. The James Gunn trilogy exists in a separate timeline, and we just don't talk about it. It was a byproduct of The Flash. There we go. Barry Allen created this stupid pocket universe after binging Guardians of the Galaxy movies or James Gunn movies. It's all in his head. It never happened. It's comic book movies. You can just hand wave it. Just be like, yeah, it's just a separate universe, multiverse, whatever. Anyway, the insiders came back to McGloin and said, the same insiders who told us that Hal Jordan dies, and it was confirmed last night. The answer came back as a list, and none of its fan service is business. Per our insiders, there are a few reasons Paramount wants The Dark Knight Returns. 2 of them explain the whole week. Dark Knight Returns would be huge. I don't know if it'd be, Spider-Man huge, but it would be huge. They can't take another reboot. In our insiders' words, it's the greatest, most iconic story of the 2 most popular superheroes, Batman and Superman, and the people who would greenlight it know what a new start costs. Internally, we're told the Ellisons, DeLuca, and the Saudi investors are in ongoing talks and know they can't take another reboot and build the characters up. So you just basically continue the Snyderverse with The Dark Knight Returns and kill Superman, I guess. Whoops, spoiler. Again, you kill Superman again and again. Then you bring him back as Superman red and blue, and we just go all 90s. Batman has been restarted on screen 4 times since Michael Keaton. Superman 3 times. Each restart brought years of setup before the payoff. Dark Knight Returns needs none of that. 2 actors the audience already accept as these characters, and the most famous story ever told about them. Already storyboarded. Wow. Then the competition. With Spider-Man racing to $2 billion and Avengers Doomsday next, DC can't just rely on Matt Reeves' Batverse. I think they needed to do better with Batman. I'm gonna be honest. Like I I get the whole like grim, dark, realistic thing, and I don't think the Batman was terrible. I think it was I thought it was okay. I don't think it was nearly as good as the Nolan movies, and they've already done realistic Batman. Like I said, I would have loved to have seen a Ben Affleck series of Batman movies that are more comic book accurate, because I think he actually is the closest thing to comic book Batman we've gotten. Instead, they'll probably do like an absolute Batman movie or something, or trilogy or something like that, which I don't know if the audiences are going to accept that as much, but Brand New Day just hit 2 billion and Warner Brothers has nothing. Yeah, I'm sorry. Basically, the Superman 2 movie, the Man of Steel, whatever, Man of Tomorrow. I mean, if all they got going for them is we're going to bring back Blue Beetle, who the fuck cares about that? Like, I like Blue Beetle too. But I'm sorry, he's definitely baiting people. He knows what this means. Everybody's like, oh, he was just there just talking to people. The Warner Brothers lie. He was just fine. No, I think it's like if the Saudis get control of Warner Brothers and Paramount and Warner Brothers merge, you're coming back. We're doing the Dark Knight Returns. Boom, that's going to be the big announcement. I think James Gunn is 100% out. I don't think there's, and honestly, even if they don't formally, like, they're not going to fire him. He basically has a contract until next year. He's not going to want to work for David Ellison. He's not going to. The guy's politically pickled, as my wife says. He's not going to want to work for David Ellison. So he'll probably go back to Disney or something. Who knows? Or they might just bring him in to do one-off movies. I mean, I think he'd be good with, like, Lobo or something like that. Doom Patrol, something like that. I think he'd be good with, but not Superman, not Batman. That's just out of his wheelhouse, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's got to feel good, man. It's got to feel good to, be a chud and be proven right. And this happens a lot. This happened with, Neurotic too. I remember Gary got a lot of flack because he had these ridiculous sounding rumors about Doctor Who. And somebody, I guess, from the BBC came to him and said, hey, they're going to retcon the Doctor's origin and they're going to make the Doctor start out as a little girl and not be a Time Lord. And that's the most ridiculous fucking thing as a longtime Doctor Who fan that you could ever think of. Like, oh, of course they are. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. And it was true. By God, it was true. And you can trace the death of Doctor Who back to the death spiral, back to the Timeless Children. And they never undid it. In fact, they doubled down on it. Russell T Davies doubled down on it. And if you want to, it's kind of like Star Wars. You can walk everything back to The Last Jedi. And regardless of what you thought of that movie, that is when the Star Wars fandom fractured and the death spiral began. And with Doctor Who, it was definitely, choosing a female doctor was kind of below one, but people were willing to give Jodie Whittaker a chance, judging by the numbers for the first couple episodes, but it was very preachy. But the numbers were still fairly decent in the first season, but as soon as the Timeless Children aired and they retconned the Doctor, that was it. Everybody was out. They were like very, very out and they never came back. Right. So, but this is just, everything is ending. Basically all of this shit's ending. I think the studios are like, we got to make money. They're looking at Spider-Man. What did Spider-Man do right? And yeah, I know a lot of people have nitpicks with Jean Grey, but beyond that, it was like street level Spider-Man. That's all people wanted. Street level Spider-Man, being Spider-Man, and $2 billion. Just Batman, Superman beating the shit out of each other. It's kind of a follow-up to Batman versus Superman. This is how it ends. And this is a send-off for Affleck and Cavill and Money in the Bank. Right? And they know it. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.